Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Here is week 2 of November. So for this first image, I decided to do more male images since I've been doing mostly female. Now, this one here is a male model and I did the brushwork at home, but here I'm using the Pigma Micron pen at 0.005 size, and I've been doing kind of refining my technique. I've been doing more of the shading and the hatching with this, do the main line strokes with the brush pen, and then do the hatching with the Micron. When I was just using the brush pen by itself, I'm able to do the fine cross hatching with that, but the thing is it's really difficult to control really thin lines with that, and it for me is kind of stressful just to make sure I'm getting like the right stroke techniques. But since I switched over to do the hatching with the Micron pens, I kind of relieve the stress on myself. Here you notice I'm going to use a duotone color scheme. I started off with a reddish and orange and then overlaid the blue on top. I'm going to add a little bit of a brown later on to have it more of a normal skin color on it, but again the main color was supposed to be the blue. So I used a photographic reference, and the model had a blue lighting on him, so it was actually more intense blue. I wanted it to be more realistic, not so deep as the actual image. This one is a really fun image. It's of a girl and her pony. They're resting their head against each other out in the forest. And again, here's my my Pigma Micron using for the cross hatching and the details. It's hard to tell in the background, but I have the red and black pencil lines for the image. So what I did was only ink the foreground characters because I just wanted to use the pencil images to just have a sense of placement when I start painting the background there, because I didn't want the background to have like a harsh outline. Actually, I take that back. I did a little bit on the trees here, but mostly I had the details using paint rather than doing the details on the background with the pen. I forgot to record the beginning of it, but you can tell I did the wash of the background and the grass, and then of the horse and the girl using a flat wash. Here I'm adding more of a texture. What I did was a lot of dry brush strokes on here. So if you're not familiar with dry brush, I just kind of used it a little bit wet. I took all the water out of the paintbrush and just dabbed it onto the background, and that way I use that mostly for the grass and the trees in the background, so it would appear more rough, and rather than, because when you have water on the painting, it'll appear smoother. So in order to get that rough tree texture and the grass texture, I used the dry brush. Here you can see I wanted more color on the horse, so I added a little bit more brown and yellow on the horse to give it more contrast, make it pop more. Adding more dry brush on the grass to make it and giving a little bit more colors. There's a little bit of red and greens on the grass as well. Alright, time for the haikus. First one is, "Human, please listen." Now this one is a set of 3 of animals and kind of funny images of animals. This one is a dog sitting on a chair like a human being. Again, the quote was, "Human, please listen." The theme of this one is be kind to your pets. A lot of people ignore their pets and they take them for granted, just let them sit at home or in a backyard. I always see like a lot of around my neighborhood when I walk my dogs. I always see a lot of dogs almost like howling in the yards and stuff, or or any, any kinds of pets. They just, I notice there's quite a few people, it seems, that don't really like walk their dogs or whatever. Like they kind of ignore their pets, and they're animals, but pets have feelings too. They're like human, they're not exactly like human beings, but they have they're mammals, so they have emotions similar to human beings. And like I said, the theme is be kind to your pets, make sure you take care of them, don't leave them at home just lying there, not walking them or playing with them. They're pack animals. They want to be with they're human beings. They want to have fun with them. The same goes with cats. Cats are more independent, but even then too, cats, they want to spend time with you. Now on to the actual artwork. This one I did more of a basic color scheme, more of a yellowish and brown on the dog, and then kind of a basic complementary colors on the background. You have an orange on the walls and blue on the chair, so it gives it a little bit more of a contrast. Human, please listen. Don't ignore us. We are your... This one really reminds me of Grumpy Cat. I'm not sure if... well, I guess most people are familiar with this really grumpy cat with a... the cat's not really grumpy, but he has his face has a perpetual scowl on it. So this one I found an image of a cat kind of like with a mean look on his face, but it was cute too because it was just like sitting on zoomed up on his face, sitting on a blanket. So I used that as the reference for this image here for the second line of the haiku. Here again you can see the cross hatching, a bit more details. Found it easier to do it when I'm doing fur, because you don't have to have as smooth lines, because you're doing the little patches of fur, so you can just do a little bit more sketchy look to it. Again, I did the yellow as a not like as a full wash, but kind of you can see a light coloring on some of the shadows for the cat on his face, and also the yellowish color on the blanket above. And here you can see there's the wash on the eyes of the light blue and the pink on the nose. Now I'm adding a little bit of a brown to give it more of the actual fur color. And then the black on the ink itself gives it more of a grayish look, because with the cross hatching, I did like bunch of little fine details, so the brown and the black gives it a little bit more of a gray. And then added the blue dry brush on the background to make it stand out more. Human, please listen. Don't ignore us. We are your best friends. Hugs and licks. This one is a bit hard to see, but this is one of the few times you're gonna see me doing the recording of the pencil work. I start out with a red pencil and then add more with the red pencil. I'm finding like the outlines and major shapes, and then adding refining the details with a regular HB graphite pencil. And now at this point, here's why I do use my Kuretake brush pen and doing the major outlines, going over those. I do some little bit fine details on the brush pen as well, but it's mostly just to get darken the pencil lines and so you have the major details of the major features, not the details, major features of the drawing. Now back into the Micron pen. I think by this time I switched to a 003 Micron. So I found a set on Amazon. I think it was a set of 5 or 6 for a package, because my 005 only had one and I was running out. So then I looked online and I saw a smaller set. I really like the combination of the thick brush pen with the super thin Micron. So I mean it's a lot, like I said from at the beginning, it's a lot easier for me, or less stressful mostly, to add the hatching on here. And for me, that makes it a lot more fun. I'm not really stressed out to not create a mess when I'm using trying to do the hatching with a brush pen. After all, that's one of the main reasons people do art. You do it as a relaxation and to have fun. You don't want to be stressed out doing art, you know, like making it like it's a work. It should be a fun thing to do. You should enjoy it. Okay, here I'm adding the first I did a background because it's kind of a festive party mood. So I did like a little splatter effect of yellows and blues and also green. And now I'm adding the colors on the two dogs, starting with the yellow, then adding more of a brown and having a bit of red on their nose. And darkening some of the shadows with some black as well, I believe. Yeah, so these two dogs look really happy because their human is playing with them, having fun, and that's what you should be doing with the animals, having fun with them. Alright guys, that's the end of week 2 of my November sketchbook. See you next week. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye.